Now we turn to the world of presidential politics, where Donald Trump says he is now campaigning as a candidate unchained. Trump tweeted yesterday, and I quote, "It is so nice that the shackles have been taken off me and I can now fight for America the way I want to," end quote. And in an interview last night, the GOP nominee explained to which shackles he was referring.
Shackles are some of the establishment people that are weak and ineffective people within the Republican Party, senators and others. And Paul Ryan, led to a certain extent by Paul Ryan.
They were holding
being
you back?
nasty to the nominee.
They were holding you back?
Not a question holding back, no, but they're not giving support. They don't give the kind of support. You know, we got more votes, more than 14 million votes, more than anybody in the history of the Republican primaries, Bill. And they don't give the support that we really need.
Okay,
now,
but I'm still confused.
I think I'm better off maybe without their support if you want to know the truth.
Susan Page is the Washington bureau chief for USA Today and joins me now on set. Susan, I hate to invoke the phrase lots to unpack, but first of all, the image of shackles is quite an interesting one just to invoke on its face. But as we see the reporting now of USA Today, that some 26% of GOP governors, senators, congressmen are now not supporting a GOP nominee for president. Two questions. How significant is it? And what does it mean for the party long term, really November 9th and beyond?
So let's remember, this is unprecedented.
Yeah.
We have never in modern times had more than a quarter of the officials of a party refuse to endorse or support their presidential nominee. We have never been here before. And the consequences for the Republican Party, well, we knew there was going to be a civil war in the Republican Party after this election was over. It's just started a month early.
It's interesting because that number, though, does reflect right now about the support Donald Trump receives from likely GOP voters. It's in the low to mid 70s. That's a number he's got to get up into the 90s. So he can say, I suppose, all he wants. I don't need Paul Ryan. I don't need the support of GOP leadership, and yet it would seem there is a direct correlation between at least more than ever before. He's going to need every GOP voter he can find. Is there a strategy here?
You know, I think his strategy is his primary strategy. When he was running against 13 guys, and if you could get a third of the vote, you were going to win. You were going to have a plurality. You defeat everybody else. That's not how it works when you're in a general election. He is now in a situation where he has fired up his core supporters. They are going to turn out, but it does not get him to the numbers that he would need to actually win the White House.
Obviously, this is all fallout in part from that video that was first revealed this past weekend. But when you look at everything that has come to pass here, the attack on John McCain, the mocking of a disabled reporter, the attack on a Gold Star family, to name but a few, why this and why now? Yesterday I theorized, is this like the sign on the highway, last gas for 50 miles? I mean, why is this the off-ramp that so many seem to be taking?
Well, I think two things. One is, in some ways, it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. Yeah. In addition, it comes at a time when voters are really tuned in, even voters who are not following politics every day. The other thing is, he's describing offenses for which you could and should be arrested. He's talking about sexual assault, and that is something different than just provocative rhetoric.
Yesterday, 538, the website, Nate Silver put up an electoral map of what it would look like if Donald Trump lost the support of women, and it was a map that was all blue. What is initial polling suggested will be the ramifications of what was learned this past weekend, even as we saw the early flight of some GOP leaders. Then we did see some hang on. As we heard Barack Obama say yesterday, he finds it inconceivable that somebody could still be endorsing this man for president. But what has been the real politic as it relates to numbers that we're seeing, especially with female voters?
Well, we only have early polling. We want to see some more come out. But the early polling indicates that women react much more strongly to the video, the Access Hollywood video, than men voters do. A majority of women say it makes them less likely to support Donald Trump. A majority of men say it's not going to make a difference in their vote one way or another. This is very serious. Women make up, by the way, a majority of the electorate. And without the support of women, and especially college-educated white women, Republican candidate cannot win the White House. They just can't get to a majority of the vote. They can't get to 270 without women.
Quickly, I want to ask you about the John Podesta emails, as it might suggest also the continued presence of Russian state actors looking to influence the election. Also, this is what could have passed as another bad week in any other election cycle for the Democratic candidate. This could have qualified as an October surprise in any other election year. Is this just going to be drowned out by everything we've just discussed?
It is at the moment. Now, we think there'll probably be more leaked emails to come, and maybe they get more and more explosive. These are unhelpful to Hillary Clinton. They reinforce the idea that she's very cautious and calculating about what she says, not transparent and forthcoming. But it's overwhelmed. It's so overshadowed by some of the things we see with Trump.
It's remarkable that she could have the week she's had, at least in a vacuum, and still talk about Georgia and Arizona and Utah, just to name a few. Susan Page, as always, really appreciate the insight.
Thanks so much.